So welcome everyone back to week 8 here at BSBA. I'm your president, Colin Flintoft. We've got a very special speaker today. This is Katelyn Mulcahy. Thank you for joining us tonight,
You got
Katelyn.
the last name right.
Did I really?
I'm shocked. It's Mulchi, Mulcahy, Mulchuchi, I mean, it's, yeah. So
Wow.
Thank you.
Never knew myself to be a linguist, but I guess we're getting there, you know?
Yeah,
Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So I guess looking real quick at our agenda for tonight, I'm going to introduce a little more about our guest speaker, Katelyn, and then she's going to share a little more about herself and her story. And then I'll lead a little bit of a discussion featuring our executive board as well. And then towards the end of the meeting, we'll allow for 15 minutes or so, probably more, of just like open audience, question and answer. You know, let's get a little dialogue going, make this interactive. We just ask that you raise your hand during that time, or if you're on Zoom, use that function, or just put it into the chat or anything. And then at the very end, we'll go over what our next play is looking like, as well as some announcements. All right, so who is Katelyn? We got quite the resume right here. She's currently a freelance photographer who's primarily working in the world of sports. She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Media Studies from the University of Michigan over in Ann Arbor. And when she was on campus there, as I'm sure we'll get to hear a little more about tonight, she was a part of the Michigan Daily, where she was the managing photo editor. And I believe you were managing what, a team of around like 30 or something like that?
It was about 30 people, yeah. And then we had like a fun little budget to play with, and we had to get ourselves to different events. So like UCLA, you guys know, like you were in the Final Four, right?
Last year.
Right, last year.
I think we might have beat you guys on the way there.
You
too.
did, yeah. I was a little offended.
Sorry, I just had to say it.
No, it's fine. I mean, if I'm gonna root for a team in LA, it's gonna be the Bruins. I am not a Trojan by any means. I know the A class.
There we go. There we go.
I mean, it's on record now, but because USC has hired me a few times, but
We'll cut that from the video.
it's fine. It's fine. I grew up at the Rose Bowl. Thanks, Dad. But yeah, sorry.
Awesome. I like it. Also, real quick, I've got to give a shout out. You know, since we're talking to a photographer, you should go check out some of her photos. There's her Instagram handle as well as her website. Go check some of that stuff out. It's really cool. Some of her other experiences include photographing professionally at various like professional sports leagues. You know, you see them right there: NBA, NFL, MLB, all the major stuff. Some highlights from those included the 2019 World Series, as well as the 2018 Final Four and National Championship. And I believe Michigan was in those, right?
Yeah, no, that's why I was there. And Villanova has hurt me, and it's fine.
Wow.
We lost to them by like 30 points. But yeah, no, it was they were great experiences, and the networking I did there was actually fantastic. I'll say this right now, like any of what you do in the future, networking is probably the most important part. And I'm sure you've heard that like a million times, but I only say it because it's true. So
yeah, you can never underscore that enough. It's definitely important. And as you guys can see there as well, she's had works published in the New York Times, the LA Times, Washington Post, and USA Today. So for all you know, you might have actually seen some of her images already in various, you know, headline stories and things like that.
If anyone has adopted the Lakers, I don't know how many of you guys are out of state students, out of the country students, international, or if you're from LA. There was one of Russell Westbrook recently that went viral. No one's really happy with him anymore, but when he had this one dunk, it was cool, and that was cool. But that was just recently.
Yeah, pretty awesome stuff. We're still fans of Russell here, no matter what he's doing.
Oh, right, yeah, right. He's a Bruin.
We're proud to have him as one of our alums. And then looking at the last few experiences here, Katelyn's also been a photography intern at Getty Images. She did that for about a year or so, and that is no easy gig to get.
No, it's actually, I don't know how many of you guys have tried looking in the internship market. Obviously, I'm assuming you guys have had some internships at this point. My internship was not posted. You kind of had to know about it and then be offered to apply to it. And then even if you were offered to apply to it, there's no guarantee that you get it. So I was very lucky, very lucky. So.
Well, hey, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So you had to work for it. So there you go. She was also a senior live content correspondent over in the NFL. Which is a pretty sweet gig, and I understand that was down in Houston.
That was in Houston, cool. Yeah. Houston was a fun time.
When they were better at football, right?
Yeah, they still had JJ Watt, so that was good, and they hadn't kind of combusted yet. And the Astros, which I know that's kind of a sore topic, but I did work with them alongside them. I covered them.
Did you root
But
for
not
like the
necessarily
Dodgers
working.
on the inside?
I chose to remain like neutral. I was Switzerland. I'm not
There you
going to
go.
take a side because I was trying to get a job in journalism. So I was just happy to be there, be a part of the World Series, be a part of their playoff run, and go Nationals because they won.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd seen that was the only World Series ever where the visiting team won every single game.
Yeah, no home
Which is
games were won. It was
pretty
really
crazy.
sad for fan photos.
Yeah.
So
That's tough. And then last but not least, she kind of just alluded to, she was a live content creator at Major League Baseball. And so with that great resume in mind, without further ado, Katelyn, the floor is yours. If you want to share a little more with us about yourself.
yeah, gosh, where to start? Michigan was really fun, and I'll start there solely because being a student is super powerful. You'll make more connections as a student than you will like being out in the real world. And I say that from personal experience because some people don't really give you the time of the day if you're not a student anymore. And that's kind of scary because I know you're only a student for so long. But I reached out randomly after I read an article about that Getty internship. And it was actually not the internship I ended up getting. It was one in London for a year. So I really was like, that sounds cool. I want to do that. I was not qualified at all at the time. I look at my pictures from my time at Michigan, and none of them are hardly in my portfolio anymore. So I grew a lot since then, but someone got back to me, and through a person, I ended up meeting my future boss at the Final Four in 2018. And he is someone who then just recently hired me to do the Super Bowl. And that was really an amazing opportunity that I kind of still pinch myself that it happened. Like, it doesn't really feel like the Super Bowl happened. It just kind of felt like another game to me. But those connections are vital. I think if I like still am a bit intimidated by him. I've known him, his name's Max Wolfson, and I've known him for about since 2018. That's 4 years now. Yeah. And there wasn't really a ton of hope. He said, keep in contact with me. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Do I just have to send you an email every 3 months? Yeah. And he said, yeah, just send me what you're doing. And I didn't really have a ton of stuff. I was working at the newspaper. I guess that equivalent is the Daily Bruin, but I was working at the Michigan Daily, and it's like, oh, I covered a press conference today, and it was the mayor speaking about, it wasn't anything that was crazy, but I still pushed to send him what I had and kept myself goal oriented to send him things that were updates. And I think there were so many other better applicants than me for the internship that I ended up getting. And instead, I think because I was so persistent and enthusiastic, I kind of always say that you can't teach enthusiasm. Like, someone could be better at you, but if they're really hard to work with, then that's just kind of, you're better off.
I want to work with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've heard a handful of times of people who just don't get jobs because they're really hard to work with. I'm trying to think about what else about me. NFL was cool. I know you guys probably see NFL, MLB. I don't know what prior speakers you've had that have worked in those leagues, but it was kind of a whirlwind. It feels like a world ago that was life for me. Houston is a completely different area than Los Angeles, and I was kind of getting my footing right in the middle of the season. Actually switch it kind of chronologically. I came into Major League Baseball. I graduated from Michigan, and the next day I started my job at Major League Baseball. My first Astros game. I had no idea what I was doing. But they trusted me. They liked my portfolio, and they said, we need someone in Houston. I got a recommendation, and they thought it was good enough that they hired me. And luck, the World Series. I can't say the same for the Texans. They certainly didn't make the Super Bowl, but I I made a lot of good connections there. Just before I came here, actually, I was calling someone who I met from Houston, and she's someone who I talk to on a weekly basis. So, and she didn't even talk to me all that much sometimes when I was in Houston, but the impressions you make on people do last. I don't know what else about me. That feels kind of like it. I know that was super fast.
No, you're totally fine.
Freelancing, that's a whole other thing. I honestly, the pandemic all hit us at terrible times, right? I mean, that sucked. I'm talking about this internship, how I got it, the connections, blah, 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 blah. The internship only lasted 3 weeks officially. It hit me the pandemic hit right in the middle of it. So I had 3 weeks of experience and I went, okay, what am I going to do with this? I mean, everyone was, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to apply to college when you can't go visit your college counselor? How are you supposed to attend class and there is no class to attend? I mean, and teachers still clearly haven't figured it out, right? Yeah. Or at least some. I should give them credit, but I guess some haven't. My point to say is I officially became freelance, and it was basically only 3 weeks of work that I had under my belt, 3 weeks of experience of how do you shoot a Lakers game? Where do you enter in? Where do you get your credential? Where do you park? It was crazy trying to do that when no one was there. Because for a long period of time, it was me shooting with no fans and crypto.com. I can't say that with a straight face. Staples Center. It was trying to find shots when we had no access. The one thing I'll say about sports is access is everything. And that's me saying that as a photographer, but I think that goes throughout all of sports. Let's say you're working in marketing and someone is trying to get an athlete to where they need to be, and they're not showing up on time. They're not doing what they're supposed to. There are so many unknowns in sports, especially because people are tired, some people are lazy, you're working weekends, you're working nights, like it's going on a tangent here. The point is that access was hard in sports for a while. All the pictures on my website, I don't really think I made a ton during the pandemic, if I'm being honest. And that's because access and, security won't let you here. Security won't let you there. The first game I tried shooting during the pandemic, Staples Center was empty. They had a couple reporters kind of below. And I'm sitting where I'm supposed to be shooting from in the seats. We're no longer allowed to sit on the floor. You can now, but then it was like, if you touch a player, if you breathe at a player and you're that close, God forbid. Like imagine if a photographer like me is still sitting on the court and you give LeBron James COVID. That's not gonna fly. So we were shooting from up top, and it was really, really hard to make something that I was proud of. Like you want to go into work every day and you want to make something that's good. And sometimes that just wasn't happening. So it was a really slow struggle. I was like, is Getty gonna hire me again, or freelance people are gonna hire me again? And then they have, but it was hard. So access is everything. Which it was actually really nice because at the NFL and the MLB, I did have access. The All-Star game wasn't held in Houston, but they had some prep of like, Mike Trout is there and they're doing a shoot of Mike Trout, and it's the Players Weekend. Going on so many tangents, guys. I'm so sorry.
We're here for it.
Mike Trout is there. The Angels are playing the Astros. They're in the AL West. And they get to either dress in all black or all white. And I was there behind the scenes taking videos of stuff like that. So that access was great. I didn't really like those pictures either, but it's because I'm really picky, and that's kind of what you have to be as a photographer. But basically the pandemic sucked, and that's my point, is that I struggled through it, and they still hired me, and then things got better. I never thought I'd see an NBA court again, but then I did, and I've made some cool images, which I'd show you, but
we can pull them up if you want.
It's okay. I have I have them in the back of my mind. If you look up, there's like a Russell Westbrook dunk over Rudy Gobert. And that was one that
We'll have to check that out.
you can check it out. I mean, it's literally, yeah.
It's like on news. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yes, yeah. That one just went like the Lakers posted it, Bleacher Report posted it, like all of these places posted it, which is kind of rare because there's so many photographers in sports. So we're all taking the same pictures. I was reviewing newspapers the day after the Super Bowl, and there's one photographer for the LA Times, and then there's another photographer for a different newspaper, and they got the exact same shot. So it's all about the access, because if you guys looked at my Instagram at all, you saw that I wasn't down on the field. That was not what I was there for. You know what I was there for, Super Bowl wise? I was there to celebrity hunt and also take pictures of fans in the environment. So I spent the entire third quarter and the halftime show searching for celebrities. But the rest of the time, I was there trying to make images.
If you don't mind me asking, who hires people to do that? Like the
So-
celebrity hunting and all that.
I have
It's like the
relationships,
tabloids or something.
kind of, basically Getty Images is a wire service, so whatever pictures they take, anyone can use if they pay the right price or they have a deal with Getty. That's kind of how most wire services work. Getty's a fairly big one. I'm sure you guys have seen that little watermark before, right? Where it says Getty, yeah.
They seem to dominate.
Yeah. There's a ton out there. And they do news as well as award shows. They're doing I don't know what award show is coming up next, but they're doing a ton.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, what sort of preparation are you putting into like a job like that? Like, are you trying to find out where they're gonna be, who exactly is gonna be there, or do you just sort of show up and see who's there?
So for one Dodgers game, I was told that John Mulaney was there and I had to go find him. He was in a certain seat. And so I kind of was able to spot him, but it was a lot of, specifically at Dodger Stadium, just to demonstrate, we're in a little box that's like this. So during the breaks, breaks and innings, I had to turn up and like try and spot him. That was that one specific situation. At the Super Bowl, every single suite had a celebrity in it, basically. So it's just a matter of going and picking off and hunting. So I saw Lizzo, but she was kind of too far in her box, so I didn't take a picture of her. But I went further and, Keke Palmer. Okay, let me snap a picture of her. If hopefully people know who she is, maybe not, maybe, yes, okay, cool.
So throw back.
She's in the new Jordan Peele movie. Nope, right?
Which one is that?
The trailer
He's
came
released
out.
a lot lately.
The trailer just came out. It's with like the scary cloud, and then there's like a kite in it. I don't really know the premise because it's just a trailer,
He's
but
got some good movies.
he does have some good movies. And shout out Kiki, because my mom is working there, so I kind of know her. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it kind of depends basically. And then I was chosen to do the celebrities because all the other people they flew in were people who were doing the field, were doing the positions and getting the action that was on the field. They knew that I knew SoFi Stadium and that I would get lost in it, which you guys, is that something you're doing?
Yeah, actually on Monday, we're doing a
Yes.
tour of SoFi Stadium.
Doing a tour of SoFi
Some of our
Stadium.
members, yeah.
It'll be really fun, but it's really huge, and bring good walking shoes. I think those are all things you probably already know, but it's an actual maze. And I was
It's
there
very
for,
steep too.
it is,
Feels like
yeah.
Staples or crypto.
If
really
you're in the nosebleeds at SoFi, I'm constantly,
It's kind of scary.
I have a lens, like a camera and another camera. And I have to hold on like I'm an old lady. Because in the nosebleeds, it's pretty high up, so.
Wow.
But celebrities, I don't normally have to get them, but when I do, I do. The Super Bowl was one of those. So
Sounds like there were plenty on deck.
Do you use Instagram to like find them? Like if they post a story like, oh, they're sitting on this side of the field, like they've got to be in that position.
specifically the Super Bowl, no, because there were so many of them.
Yeah.
And also they pop in and out. Like I'll tell you guys later, but an emergency kind of happened with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I was rushing back to our workroom. and Carmelo Anthony was walking in front of me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and get past you, dude, but he wasn't in his box at that point. So it was kind of like a hit or miss situation. Sometimes I use social media to identify people, because in journalism, gotta identify people. So specifically, does anyone know that there's rugby in Los Angeles? Anyone know that?
Thought we just had a club team here. So that was
We had a
it.
club team here. So there's actually a professional league, and they play at the Coliseum. Boo, that's what they do. And at the Coliseum, they the team that plays there, they have terrible jerseys, and they change the numbers every single time, because that's just how it works in rugby. And I had to identify all of them. I was like, okay, well, what's the hairstyle are they wearing today? What's in their story? And that's a situation, but that's not really celebrities and locating people. I was honestly just said, go out there, see who you can get, and call it a day. There are people there specifically for paparazzi. Getty Images was just providing that if we found it, but we weren't gonna go out and seek it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing all that stuff. Really appreciate it.
A lot.
No, it's great. I'm kind of curious, like whether you're doing like freelance or working for a company, if you feel like you're still able to express yourself artistically. And when you're doing that, is there anything you typically look for or try and convey?
Artistically, I think I'm just trying to make something new, which is really hard because everything's been done before. Anyone who tells you anything less, especially if they're a photographer, is just wrong. I'm inspired by what other people do, and then I'm trying to build off that. So you can take a flash to a basketball game, which I wouldn't recommend to shoot a regular
Or
basketball
just
game.
normal flash?
Well, so you guys, we all have iPhones, right? The flash, not that necessarily, but on my camera, you can attach a flash. I normally wouldn't need that. Maybe like at a party, you would use flash photography, but that lately, specifically, creatively, I've been trying to make images with flash. And that's not necessarily something that works every single time, because I've tried 3 times now and I'm not really making what I want to yet, but it kind of all depends. I think perfect example, which I think I actually have it. Let me pull it out. And sorry to the people on Zoom, I guess I can show it.
Yeah, we got you right here.
I worked for MLB Photos, so different than this content creator program. They found me when I was here, and they wanted me to shoot an Angels game super last minute.
There you go.
Just the World Series program. Let me see if it's in here. Gotta flip through it a bit, but basically they said, get Shohei Ohtani, he's the best guy.
Mhm.
And just do what you do, but you can be creative with it. So I didn't have to editorially, okay, he's walking to the mound, I have to caption it, I have to send it out. That's normally what I have to do as a photographer. I was able to shoot through this.
I just saw an Angels thing.
You did?
Yeah, in the middle of it. Couple
Yeah.
pages back.
It's a double track, which is does anyone know what a double track is?
No.
A double track is when the picture is both pages.
Oh, so you got a lot of space.
Got a lot of space. Yeah,
Wow.
you kind of got to make a picture with impact. And I should have had this
That's impressive.
tabbed before. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, wow.
So there was this
Oh, man.
fence
Super cool.
That's you, huh?
that's yeah. and my
Wow.
little
You guys
credit
see
down
that a
there.
little bit on the
Oh,
Zoom?
wait, I'm not showing it correctly. There it is.
I can hold it too if you want.
So
That's
this is
really cool.
This is the World Series program from the Astros and the Braves. I had worked 1 game for Major League Baseball, but I was trying to be creative. I was trying to Shohei Ohtani, right? Does people know him? Follow baseball?
It's
Maybe
pretty
you know him.
popular, yeah.
Pretty popular, yeah. He won like AL MVP or something, and
Can do it all.
he could do it all. And so I saw this little fence, again, access, we were pretty restricted. And I was just able to make this image of him. And they have plenty of other MLB photographers, but they chose this one. And I think also because of the player. I'm lucky that our markets are great and that Los Angeles has 2 teams in every single market, if you include the Ducks and if you include Anaheim. it's a really far drive from Anaheim, so I'm not always jazzed about that, but forgot your question, but
I was just curious about, it sounds like, I was curious what you generally look for when looking at pictures.
I look
taking
for-
It sounds like maybe something new, something
something
creative.
new,
and
yeah,
things like
something that could be a double truck, new term.
Double truck, yeah.
Yes,
I
yeah.
have to make note of that.
Do you get like a bonus for doing that? Or like, publishing like,
They paid me outright, so no. Money wise, it kind of depends on how things are assigned, but no, I don't make a bonus, but for something like the Russell Westbrook photo that maybe some of you guys saw on my Instagram, that image sold in like 60 different countries. So I make royalties off of that. So I had a really good royalty month. It was good. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
You don't necessarily know it's gonna be double truck until they say this is it, right? Or do you go into that knowing?
No.
Just back of a picture that they're like, we wanna make this. a full
They
spread.
choose what they want. If you didn't make what they wanted, then maybe that's a picture they put elsewhere. The person, I didn't even know this was in here until the person who assigned me sent me a picture and said, hey, this is in the World Series program. I went, what? So,
Cool.
yeah,
That's so cool.
I'm waiting for Sports Illustrated, but Sports Illustrated they've changed management now, so I don't know how well they're doing, but that's the goal.
There you go. I'm kind of curious within the photography world, like what generally separates like the great ones from the average and just the kind of good ones.
Going above and beyond and getting there early.
Okay.
Okay, perfect example is there's an LA Times photographer out here named Wally. If you've ever read an LA Times in person, or maybe you've read a couple articles that are sports articles, you've guaranteed you've seen one of his pictures. When Kobe died, he got to a game early, or maybe it was a memorial service. I don't know exactly what it was, but he got there early and he found like Usher sitting in the stands. And it was a beautiful image. And you guys, I mean, I don't know if it went viral or not, or if it went crazy, but that image is one that he only got that because he showed up early, and he showed up with his camera ready to go. And it was a beautiful image. You guys should look it up. So
Awesome.
showing up early, going the extra mile, physically, maybe even running the extra mile, depending on where you are. Like on golf courses, it's just running from course to course to course. It's kind of insane. But yeah, going the extra mile, getting there early, and also being a good team player, I think is what sets good photographers apart from those that just, okay, call it a day. I don't need to send that picture. You know, this one of Ohtani, we all get in a certain position to photograph the first pitch, because you always have to photograph the first pitch in Major League Baseball. And everyone was heading one way, and I was running the other way to send that picture. And everyone else thought I was insane, but I did it, and it paid off.
Worked out real well. You mentioned like being a team player and things like that. What is kind of the team for a photographer at any given event? If you're working with some others, a part of the same group or something, or you have a
Yes.
boss, or how's it work?
Team player, perfect example is you're assigned with other freelancers, and you have to, okay, well, you're gonna cover this angle, you're gonna cover this angle, and you're gonna cover this. Sometimes the assignment you get isn't that pretty. I was shooting NASCAR, and I had to sit at one angle. Any one of you with a camera could have done what I did. I wasn't doing anything creative. I wasn't doing anything that was out of the ordinary. It was just kind of, we had to check it off the shot list.
Mhm.
I wasn't super happy with all of the images I made from there, but it didn't look
Is this
that
the one at the
pretty.
Coliseum a couple weeks ago, or?
It was not the
different?
Coliseum one. It was Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. If anyone knows where that is, maybe that one.
Couple hours in one.
Yeah, so that was back in right before the pandemic hit in March,
Okay.
like beginning of March
20.
of 20. And the person said, look, your pictures aren't going to be all that great, but you were a team player, and I've been hired since then. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's a sweet deal. I'm kind of curious if you could take us into the mind too, of maybe the strategy of a photographer, in the sense of like, I was thinking about it. If I was tasked with something, I might have FOMO and like try and just snap a ton of pictures of every action shot. And then, but then I have to go sift through like thousands. How's it kind of work for you? And maybe what are some of the different approaches?
Just I want to field some guesses. How many pictures do you think I take per game?
6,000.
5,000.
6,000.
Should we set an over under and have an over and an under?
What, someone else said a number,
Probably burst shots.
10,000? All right,
10,000,
let's put the line at
Um,
8,000. I'm gonna go over.
8,000. Not that many, but actually it's a little bit more of a fun game. How many pictures were taken at the Super Bowl by our 8 photographers in total?
Oh, probably close to 1 million.
Okay, you guys are guessing really high numbers.
500,000.
Like imagine like a team of
500,000.
like 3 editors just like going through 1 million images. That's kind of insane, but
6 figures.
it wasn't 6 figures to my knowledge. It was about 54,000 pictures.
Oh, man.
And that was from like
That's so insane.
like photographers who only basically shoot when it's an actual good image. You can shoot everything that's in front of you and hope you get something and like, oh yeah, I guess you can kind of see he's tackling the guy there, or
Mhm.
oh yeah, I guess the ball's, you can see his face and the ball isn't blocking him, but otherwise, it's a lot of, I don't want to call it a crapshoot, but it's a lot of images we don't end up sending out. Typically, back to the other number, FOMO wise, sometimes you miss stuff. Oh my gosh, perfect example. A lot of wire service photographers, so mainly the Associated Press and USA Today, are the 2 other people that are normally there at every single NBA game. If anyone knows, Anthony Davis got hurt recently.
Yeah.
I was there for that game.
Oh.
Associated Press had left. It was like maybe 4 minutes before halftime, and people try and leave a couple minutes before because maybe they've taken out LeBron, maybe they've taken out some of their stars to give them a little bit of a break before halftime. So it's a longer halftime for them. And they left. And I'm pretty sure the USA Today person left too. I'm not exactly sure because I couldn't see. I was the only person that stayed because I thought, you never know what'll happen. There's a lot that can happen in 4 minutes. And let me see what happens. You don't want to ever miss something that's big. And Anthony Davis, there he goes. I don't know what happened to his ankle. I don't think he broke it, but it was another injury. Like he's out for, I don't know how long he's out
They're
for, but
already
he's out.
having a tough time too.
Yeah, he's already having a tough time. I don't know how many games he's played as a Laker. So
So it sounds like you captured it.
I captured it, and that was the point in that some people leave a little bit too early because they don't think they'll miss out. There isn't that much. And I think the thing is too, is that you can try and get every single photo that happens in front of you, but sometimes your equipment fails. Sometimes you get ref butt. That's a thing. Sometimes
What is that?
like
Like you just take a pick on accident of the ref?
no, like I'm sitting here on the baseline. Sorry for people on Zoom who can't see me. I'm sitting here on the baseline. Imagine I'm legs crossed, applesauce, whatever. And instead of the ref running down on the other side of the court and then kind of standing at the baseline to see if, oh, did someone get out of bounds? Did someone like just calling a foul or whatever? They stand right in front of me. And what I do, it's kind of a funny little trick, but imagine I'm sitting on the ground and then I do this. And sometimes they move, but sometimes they don't. And I just look weird.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just there on the sidelines doing this, like, please move out of my shot. But a lot of times you're trying to get something and then they move. And like the inch of a move can be the difference of, okay, well, I got the person making the 3-point shot on the other side or not. There's a lot of FOMO. It used to eat me up inside, and now I
Just kind of live with it.
live with it
Learn to
because
live with
every
it.
single photographer has missed a shot before.
Gotcha.
And maybe I'm too confident in saying that because there are some killer photographers out there that get every single shot, but sometimes,
Some of it just comes down to luck sometimes. too,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Sometimes you might not be in the right position. The Associated Press was not in the right position to get Anthony Davis's injury. I was on the right side of the court. Their position wasn't. So
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. How many theoretically like could your camera hold if you were just like really trigger happy that night?
probably 40,000
Oh,
images.
wow. Okay.
Maybe that's too much. I think because I shoot with multiple cameras. So it's between all of them, it's probably 40 or 50, I'd say.
Wow. And how long does that process, like, can you take us through what it looks like after the game? It's like, now you got to send it to whoever you got to get it to. Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, it's me going through, I used to go through all, 2,000, 3,000 images after a game, which is really exhausting and takes hours. And so what I did instead
That's
was
tough.
during games, I would just there's a way to like star photos, we call them tagging. We tag images that we can then filter through later, and then we just show those. And then that way I'm whittling it down to 300 images. And then I actually edit 180 of them. And then I actually send 160 of them. And it's like a whittling down process. So I've shortened it majorly. And normally it's me getting home from crypto.com. It's just Kate saying it.
It's hard to say.
Well,
Doesn't come out nice.
it's just, I miss Staples Center. They kind of just sprung it on us. We didn't really get to say goodbye. Which is, it's an
It's
arena, but
We've all been
um,
dealing with it.
it's,
Not
you
easy.
know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
No,
Like,
anyways, I'm forgetting a question now.
Just the post-game process.
yeah,
Yes,
like, and how long that takes, maybe you're.
I get home at 11:30, I breathe for an hour, and then I edit pictures until about 2:33, and then I go to sleep.
Oh, wow.
How big of a role do presets play in that process? Like, okay, I've been to crypto Staples Center. I've been to Staples Center once before. The lighting in there is generally the same most times. Lakers wear a similar jersey. I can kind of, not necessarily copy and paste, but have a general outline and then
Like a
make
formula.
fine adjustments.
Yeah, that is exactly what happens. I know my exact settings that I need on my remote camera that I set up on the basket. Or there's a thing that's called the mouse hole, and you shoot straight under, and you kind of shoot up for dunks and stuff, whatever.
That's where they get the posters.
Yes, yeah. There's a picture of LeBron that Andy Bernstein, legend, took that is like a cool one. And that was with a mouse hole, pretty sure. But yeah, I know the settings on that. White balance wise, that's the thing that kind of matters the most. When the Clippers play and the Lakers play, they play at the same place, but they have a completely different lighting setup. The Clippers is a bit more blue, green, and it's hazy. I don't know.
I do
I
not
think
like the Clippers lighting.
it's,
on a
well,
personal
yeah.
level. The
they,
lake show is, it's top notch.
Yeah, so the Clippers in their intros, they have fire, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
And then there's like smoke. It's like a weird haziness. So it kind of looks weird initially in like the first quarter. And then Lakers, completely different settings. So I actually I have the settings saved. Normally I'd have to readjust it every single time. But there's a way in my nicer cameras, because I have some nicer cameras, not so nice cameras, I still use them all, that save that setting. So it's just boop, 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 just change a couple buttons and then I'm kind of ready to go.
Yeah.
But beforehand, there's still a ton I still have to do at the check-in with the remote editing desk, see what's up with them. Does this caption look good? No, you need to change blank. Okay, got to do that. Just checking in, setting up, putting up, you should freaking see me. I carry a ladder that's about 8 feet tall, and I'm doing this, and then I walk, and then there's someone in the way, and they're on court side, and they're just talking, and they're standing, and I have to like pick it up again, move. And I
Oh,
take
man.
this ladder to the opposite basket of where I'm sitting. So I could sit here, I'm setting up a camera on this basket. And so that takes time.
So you'll be like on the floor, like standing on a ladder next to a basket or something?
Yeah, so they're warming up, and I kind of have to like move some security guard to watch the court while players are warming up. And I go up the ladder, set up the camera, and then sometimes it doesn't work, so you got to troubleshoot that. And there's obviously you kind of got to shoot warm-ups too sometimes. So the time that boop, 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 change a couple buttons is also actually time I'm working. Warm-up photos aren't the most important, but it's when I can get creative. So
Gotcha. Real quick, sorry. Anthony, we'll get to that in a second. When you talk about captions, are you talking about the stuff like when you're reading the LA Times and it's the picture and it's like the one sentence right below?
Yes, well, sometimes the reporters change that, but then
Okay.
sometimes in wire imagery, we still need to tell you what's happening in the image,
So they know.
just so
The
they know.
context,
They know who
okay.
the player is, they know where it was, they know what date it is, they know who they're playing against. A lot of times you should add, if it's after the game, who won the game, by what score, and then like some action verb,
Okay.
but
Keep it as
captioning,
brief as possible.
brief as possible, but I have, does anyone in here code?
Did a
Okay.
little in stats once, but it didn't,
Cool.
it didn't stick. I don't know
Well,
how to
I
do
don't
it.
code
Yeah.
either, but what I do is, I have little, abbreviations for things. So LeBron James is gonna be /L6/. Reggie Jackson, or sorry, Kawhi Leonard, that's the name people know versus Reggie Jackson.
Reggie's a beast. though.
Reggie is cool though, he's really cool, and he always wears the same shoes, which is fun. Is /L2/, but I gotta change it for every single game. So, and that's just my coding system. Every single photographer's coding system is different, but I do need captions just so that people know what we're talking about. We can't just send images out without a caption.
No context.
Yeah, there have been a couple of jobs. I have a job on Saturday. I just got today that, no captioning. It's great. I just take the pictures, I send them off, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, so
You
it
allowed to
kind of depends on the
disclose?
client. Hmm?
We allowed to disclose the event?
It's for MLB photos, the same people. And they have an event in Compton, so
Sweet.
I'll be there.
Sounds like a good deal. Anthony, we'll get to yours. And then Nick, I see your question in the chat. We'll get to it after. So if you want to go ahead.
Well, kind of too, I guess one of the questions is like, do you use editing software extensively and like to what degree? And how much does that matter to you as far from an artistic standpoint, the fact that it is edited? And then I guess in a similar stance, like artistically, do you do other genres of photography where perhaps you're setting something up? Like, have you
Yeah.
ever been interested in that?
Yeah,
Good question.
there's a big difference between journalism and then marketing, and I have been in both worlds. Both of these jobs were marketing. I was there to make the players look good. I was there to, my pictures actually went directly to the players in those roles. That's kind of why those roles were made, actually. Editing, I don't necessarily think about it as much in an artistic way because a lot of times I am working for Getty Images and that is news. So I'm editing it just to make it the best image it can be. Needs a little bit more contrast. It needs, you know, the ref is in this shot. Can I crop him out? I will. That's what in photography we say makes a shot clean. Is there any way to go to my website?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Okay. Which, for anyone who's in the Zoom, it's just my name.com. You want to follow along unless we're sharing on the Zoom, but just when it does come to photography, I'm going to show you an example.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Apologies. He's touching me a little funny. It does not want to seem to
Then that's okay,
agree
because
with me right now.
this is, we got it right here.
Okay,
I can open up anything in here.
thank you. Sorry about that.
All good.
Not helping us.
You guys remember the picture, but okay, so this. So I didn't take this picture, but do you see anything in the background that's distracting you?
No.
No, you're right. But there could have been someone standing here that they needed to crop out, so they did.
Hmm.
And that's not physically altering the fact that you're not photoshopping a different jersey on him, you're not doing anything like that. Artistically speaking, you're not adding an Instagram filter to it, you're not, at least in most cases. This is also for, yeah, funny enough, this picture was taken by the guy who hired me, who then put this whole thing together.
The Max
Um,
Wolfson guy?
No, so MLB photos and Getty Images are two different places. This guy's name is Daniel. He's great. Pretty sure he's in New York now, but
Cool.
yeah, so making things clean is what you aim for. So that's the extent of which I do most of my editing. And if Like he took that picture and I take my pictures because, well, if you bend down and you're getting the angle that you want, that's cool. But if I move 5 more steps here, I'm still getting what I want, but it's cleaner. That's the extent of which I edit, but in real life. It's choosing what you see in the picture and then taking the image. Like if I took a picture of this classroom right now, there's a lot that's going on in this classroom. There's a lot of people sitting, you guys are kind of spread out. There's that on the wall, which I've been staring at the whole time. Is that supposed to be a blackboard? I don't know.
No.
It's just,
I think that's vandalism.
it's vandalism. Great. But the point is this room is already, I don't want to say distracting enough, but there's a lot of elements to it. So I'd probably not include the brick wall unless I wanted to, in which case I would. But I don't know if that fully answers your question, but it makes sense.
So you don't do much in terms of like color grading or, just in contrast in Lightroom or something like that?
So I used to use Lightroom and now I use Photoshop because I'm quicker that way on the keyboard, just all of the shortcuts. Color grading would be a thing more so if I was a videographer, but in photography, it's mainly just contrast, mainly there's a thing called curves and there's a thing called levels, and that's all I use. And if a picture needs more than that, scrap it. You've either overblown it, it's underexposed, or you can't save it. And that's kind of been my general logic, because sometimes I've been in situations where, okay, I was just shooting something and it was in a super dark area and those were my settings where it was super dark. And then you go back out to the field. Perfect example was when players come in through a dugout and they just scored a home run. You have to make it brighter because it's kind of dark in there. It's shaded, especially during day games. Then you go back out and it's bright sun, Angel Stadium, Dodger Stadium. You can't see, you've completely blown it out. So sometimes I have to scrap images that I wish I didn't have to, and that's just part of the game.
Oh, I have to let him go. That's tough. Nick in the chat was curious if you've ever like gone through a game and you came out with like nothing good.
Yes, all the time. Yep. It's not fun admitting, but for me, it's like, yeah, okay, I got a good picture of Mike Trout, but how many times has that picture been taken? A million. Love LeBron, love that dude. He reacts a ton. Not that it's gotten old, but how many times have you seen a picture of LeBron reacting to something? Right? Like he's a very vibrant character, and he'll let the refs know what he wants them to know. Same with, I mean, you can name any athlete in the major sports because that's what I mostly shoot. It's some games you don't really feel like you get much that's different. And that's part of growing in the industry. I'm 25 now, so working on being better.
Absolutely. I like it. I guess just with the last few minutes here, thinking forward focused, maybe for some individuals interested in photography, what advice would you have to say for them? Maybe things to start considering and doing or look for.
Well, are any of you guys actually interested in photography or interested in sports?
I would argue more sports, but I think after tonight, like it certainly sounds like photography is a great way to, if you can get the access, get
If
up
you
close
can
and
get the
personal.
access, it's really cool.
And on Zoom, there may be some who are interested. as
Yeah,
well.
I'll say that I think photography wise, there's some quote out there that says your first 10,000 shots are your worst. So you got to shoot through those first, and then it's like the whole 10,000 hours quote. It's kind of like that for photography. My portfolio, my website, nothing that I shot from the first, I was at Campbell Hall. That's how I'm here. Is I went to high school up the road, kind of.
Shout out Owen for that connection.
Shout out
That
Owen.
was awesome.
And all the pictures from there are absolute hate 'em. But that's how I learned, and I had to learn that way. And same for, I did go to Michigan, but I went to San Diego State first, so kind of down the way.
Mhm.
All those pictures from there, hate them all. Same with, well, there might still be one up on my website, but Michigan, I think I saved like 2. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And as time went on, I think I became more confident in what my eye looked like. So I think it takes time, but the first thing you gotta do is just pick up a camera. The first place I did that was high school. So I was lucky that I kind of fell in love with it early.
Did you take any good pictures of the holidays when they were at Campbell Hall?
Oh, yeah, some. Aaron was the only one who was there because he was in my grade, so I wasn't there when Drew Holiday or Justin Holiday were there, but there's some of him kind of driving to the basket. They're cool shots. What I'm waiting to do is redeem myself, and I'm hoping I cover Suns game. Unless he suddenly gets traded before then, I don't know. But, and for context, for anyone who's like, who the hell is that? Aaron Holiday went to my high school. He's now in the NBA.
Played here as well.
Played
along with
at
Drew Holiday
UCLA as
and
well,
those
yeah.
guys.
So hopefully everyone is familiar with him.
Bunch of local basketball legends.
Yeah, I mean, he did graduate like a bit ago, because we all graduated a bit ago, but hopefully he's still remembered somewhat.
There you go. And Mike, do you have a question
I
as
was just
well? or-
gonna ask, you think your pictures got better as well, obviously with your experience, but the access that you got as you kind of, set your foot through that door that you were trying to enter, you think that access that you got to going to SoFi and some of the other experiences, the World Series kind of pushed you into that mode to improve, because you knew you had to, you're obviously getting this amazing opportunity that more so before, which Michigan sounded amazing as well, but now you're playing with the big boys or big girls, so to speak.
I think funny enough is that access is limited the higher up you go. So even though I am working the Super Bowl, access there was pretty rough. I am lucky in that I'm a white young girl and security isn't going to think of me as a threat, but I have some other older colleagues and that's not the same thing for them. I think what's funny is now that I'm older, I'm kind of wishing I was back in high school because the access there is so much better. No one's going to kick you off if you're on a high school court, unless you're at Sierra Canyon. Sierra Canyon, if
Got like
anyone.
LeBron in the crowd.
Yeah. Like Drake's showing up to a game. Like, I don't understand, but
There's probably some security there.
yeah, in any other situation, smaller is better because you'll get more access. Sometimes, you want to make the best picture of the best athlete, but if you don't have access to them, what are you doing? I'm kind of waiting for the day that on my resume, it says like, has also shot for Nike, Adidas, like you name it. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. And that's the commercial side. And that's when, okay, yeah, LeBron James shows up and you have an hour, and sometimes it's not even that long. You have 30 minutes to do like 4 different shots with him. He's going to dress in different, like his different shoes, like, that's when the access gets great. And I'm working towards that. And gigs like MLB photos grant me that because that's different access than if I'm just covering it for a different client. If I'm just there to cover the game. Here, maybe I'm allowed in some more places that I wouldn't be otherwise. So that's that.
I like it. And I guess somewhat related and thinking about like access and things like that, I guess some of this could apply maybe to people interested in sports journalism as well, maybe from the writing and reporter interviewing aspect. And maybe with regards to like, let's say they don't have access yet, what would you say to people looking to get access? Like maybe starting at those lower levels where you can maybe go and like interview the superstar or take photos from the sideline. What would you say to that?
I'd say that reporting, a lot of people end up starting small. All of the people that we know as reporters today, I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm not going to say it, but Adrian.
Oh, yeah, like a Woj bomb. Like,
Yeah. I don't think he started off like at the biggest place. I mean, I haven't looked at his resume, but if you do, he probably didn't start off everyone has to start somewhere.
Adam Schefter, all those guys.
Yeah, Adam, University of Michigan.
There
He
you
probably
go.
started off
Cool.
going to University of Michigan softball games, and you report. And specifically the softball coach is super intimidating, and you have to go up and talk to her and be like, "So, coach, how do you feel about that loss?" That's terrible. You're a freshman. You got to ask a coach that, and who's like super intimidating. No way, but you learn. So that would be the advice I give: is that start where you are now, like your high school, whatever. There's tons of times people are looking for freelance writers and freelance photographers. So it's best that you email and not be afraid of a no. Don't count yourself out before the world gets a chance to. I would just say, put yourself out there.
Absolutely, I like it. And I guess out of respect for everyone's time and all that, we'll wrap it up here in a sec because it's 7 p.m. But I guess in the sense of thinking about written, visual, things like that with regards to sports journalism and reporting and things like that, what would you say in terms of like, are there any like platforms where maybe there's some higher, practices going on in terms of people getting opportunities, or is this more of a thing where you got to reach out to like the paper itself at the news publication? How does that kind of work?
You mean like?
Especially if
in
we're
terms of
starting lower level.
Getting opportunities.
Yeah, in terms of like if we wanted to go get an internship, we might just shoot out a ton of cold apps or something like that. Is there like a marketplace, I guess is what I'm trying to ask, where people can connect and get these opportunities, or do you kind of have to do it just the old fashioned way and
Well,
reach out directly?
reaching out directly does count. Have you guys heard of, I think it's called Teamworks?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We use that.
I'm
for
sure you
our
guys have used
sports
that.
programs here.
Yes, yeah. So that is where I found a ton of opportunities. That's why I actually first got into Houston. And Houston bloomed into other things. So I think when you're starting off small, I think student newspapers here are really valuable. I think the speakers you're probably brought in here, especially those who are more business and sports oriented, right? Someone who's, I actually don't know any of your previous speakers, but people who work in sports, in business, because obviously I work in sports, but photography, they are two different things. The people who speak here will be someone who could hire you in the future, joining clubs, being involved, like sending an email afterwards to someone goes a really long way. If anyone is interested in talking further, but, oh yeah, I got like finals, you kind of forget, it is what it is, I might not remember to reach out to you. Like, it's kind of a matter of doing it yourself. So the connections you make here in this club, in this, association.
Yeah,
matter.
I guess it's a club, right? Yeah,
The
there we
club,
go. Thank you.
association, they do matter. I think you could be sitting next to someone right now who could hire you in the future, is my point.
Wow, it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, well, I won't go into the story, but one of my friends recently fell off a stage at the Rams parade.
Oh, man.
There was that one. And if you saw anything else about her, there's some Stafford, yeah, no, but there were some pretty bad things that came up after she fell. And she's someone who I know from San Diego State. So I didn't know that she was also going to end up in the LA market doing very similar things, but she did. And she's someone who I've given her work before. She's given me work before, and that's in the freelance world. So if you're looking for a staff job at the Rams, then that's a different thing. But people you meet, it matters. So.
Yeah. Well, very cool. It definitely sounds like all the stuff that everyone here is doing, all that is going down the right path and whatnot, and hopefully following in similar shoes as yours, whether it be as, photographers, journalists, reporters, whatever people get into. It's definitely very applicable advice. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Give her a hand. Just with the last couple minutes here, I'm not even going to try with the PowerPoint because I don't think it's working. A couple quick announcements are next week. There won't be any formal meeting, but on Monday, for those of you who have been coming all quarter and won our case competition and things like that, we do have our tour of SoFi Stadium Monday, and I'll be at 4:45. And then the week after, we just confirmed a reservation. We'll be having a little casual social at Barney's Beanery on Wednesday, March 9th, similar to a few weeks ago. If you want to just come by, stick around 5, 10, 15 minutes, say hi, or hang out for like an hour or two. I'll be there the whole time. Eat some pizza, watch some games, all that. One other final thing is just the Pulse Conference is starting tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And then they'll run until about 8. Friday, you got 11:45 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you got people from Wu-Tang Clan, one of LeBron's business partners, an executive from Netflix, a whole bunch of different things. So That'll be right here at the Luskin Center. I'm really looking forward to that. From what I've become aware of, it might be sold out at this point. But if anyone's still interested, I'll see if I can pull any strings or something like that, because I think it's definitely a cool opportunity. It costs $10 to go to. And if you are going to it, as you guys probably saw in the group me, feel free to reach out to me. We'll all go together. But that's it for tonight. I want you guys to definitely give Katelyn a follow on Instagram and check out her website. And yeah, thank you so much.